What did humans do before money existed? Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow morning, you grab your phone, you open your banking app, and your balance says zero. Not just your account, everyone's account, every bank, every credit card, every payment app. Gone. No cash, no dollars, no savings, nothing. At first, people think it's a technical glitch, but then reality sets in. The grocery store can't sell food. Gas stations can't process payments. Employers can't pay workers. The entire economy freezes overnight. Suddenly, a simple question becomes very important. How do people survive without money? It sounds impossible, but here's the strange part. For almost all of human history, that's exactly how humans lived. For hundreds of thousands of years, people had no money, no banks, no salaries, no taxes, no investments, no stock market, and yet human civilization survived. In fact, it thrived. So what did humans do before money existed? And why did we invent money in the first place? To answer that question, we need to travel back in time. About 30,000 years. Imagine standing in a vast wilderness. No cities, no roads, no skyscrapers, no advertisements, no office buildings, just forests, rivers, mountains, and small groups of humans trying to survive. You wake up beside a campfire. Around you are your family, friends, and tribe members. Nobody is rushing to work. Nobody is checking emails. Nobody is worrying about rent, because none of those things exist yet. The day begins with a simple goal. Find food, stay safe, help the group survive. That's it. A few hunters leave to track animals. Others gather berries, roots, and edible plants. Some repair tools, some care for children. Everyone contributes, not because they're being paid, because everyone depends on everyone else. If one person succeeds, the group benefits. If one person struggles, the group helps. Survival isn't a competition, it's cooperation. And for thousands of generations, this system worked. In many early societies, ownership looked very different from today. You didn't own much. There were no closets full of clothes, no garages packed with belongings, no storage units. Most people owned only what they could carry. And because people owned so little, there was often less conflict over possessions. The group's survival mattered more than personal wealth. But eventually, a problem appeared. What happened when people needed something they couldn't make themselves? The answer was trade. Imagine you're excellent at making stone axes. Your neighbor is a skilled fisherman. You give him an axe. He gives you fish. Simple. Both sides benefit. This system is called barter, and for thousands of years, it helped people exchange goods and services. But barter had a serious flaw. Let's say you have fish and you need shoes. The shoemaker doesn't want fish. Now what? You need to find someone who wants fish and has something the shoemaker wants. This is known as the double coincidence of wants. And as communities grew larger, this problem became harder to solve. Trade was becoming complicated. Humans needed a better system. Before money existed, people experimented with all kinds of things. In some places, shells became valuable. In others, salt became currency. Some cultures used beads. Others used livestock. On certain Pacific islands, giant stone discs represented wealth. Imagine buying something with a cow. It sounds ridiculous today, but in ancient times, a cow was incredibly valuable. It provided food, labor, milk, and future offspring. Unlike a piece of paper, a cow had obvious value. For centuries, people searched for something everyone would accept. Something portable, something durable, something rare. Eventually, many societies settled on precious metals: gold, silver, copper, not because these metals had magical powers, but because people trusted them. And that trust changed everything. For the first time in history, value became easy to carry, easy to store, easy to exchange. Money wasn't just an invention, it was a revolution. Trade exploded. Merchants traveled farther than ever before. Goods crossed deserts, sailed across oceans, moved between civilizations. Cities grew. Empires expanded. The world became more connected. But something else happened too, something nobody expected. Before money, relationships often determined survival. Your reputation mattered. Your word mattered. Trust mattered. If you helped your community, people remembered. If you betrayed others, people remembered that too. But money changed the rules. Now you could trade with complete strangers. You didn't need friendship. You didn't need family connections. You only needed money. For the first time, wealth could be counted. And that's when inequality began growing on a scale humans had rarely seen before. Some people accumulated enormous wealth. Others accumulated very little. The gap widened. Power concentrated. Land ownership expanded. Kings emerged. Governments formed. Taxes appeared. And eventually, jobs appeared. Think about that for a moment. Today, most people trade hours of their lives for money. You go to work. You receive a paycheck. You use that paycheck to buy what you need. It's so normal that we rarely question it. But for most of human history, that system didn't exist. People worked. Of course they worked, but they weren't working for salaries. They were working directly for survival, for family, for community, for the future of their group. And according to many anthropologists, those groups were often surprisingly cooperative. Not perfect, not peaceful all the time, not free from conflict, but deeply connected. People spent more time together. Children were raised by entire communities. Stories were shared around campfires. Knowledge passed from generation to generation through conversation. Human connection was at the center of life. There were no smartphones competing for attention, no endless notifications, no social media feeds, just people talking, learning, sharing experiences. Of course, we shouldn't romanticize the past. Ancient life was difficult. Food shortages happened. Disease spread quickly. Harsh winters killed people. Predators posed constant danger. A simple infection could become fatal. There were no hospitals, no antibiotics, no emergency services. Life was uncertain and often brutal. But it was also different from the world we know today. Modern humans spend decades chasing money, working longer hours, paying bills, managing debt, saving for retirement, checking investment accounts. And while money creates comfort and opportunity, it's worth remembering something important. For most of human existence, humans survived without it. The foundations of survival weren't dollars or gold or bank accounts. They were trust, cooperation, community, relationships. The same things that mattered 30,000 years ago still matter today, maybe even more than ever. Because at the end of the day, money is just an agreement, a shared belief, a tool humans created. But friendship, family, trust, those existed long before the first coin was ever minted, and they may still be the most valuable things we possess. So the next time you pull a dollar bill from your wallet, ask yourself one question. If money disappeared tomorrow, what would actually make your life valuable? The answer might surprise you.